you've got the same bench in each power rack. You've got your platform or space. So we need a platform there and a platform there. We're still growing. It's fucking coming on.
No, that's awesome, man. Yeah.
There's a fucking method to the madness. And then right here is our distance. So our distance is our cardio. So we use 4 different distances. So we do the bike, the row, the run, and the sled. Okay. So you see they're both on both sides there. Yeah. The next step is to go to 3,500 square feet. That'll be the standard. That'll be the standard distance.
Okay, so you were talking to me about what you're trying to do here at Big Fitness, right? And I won't have you repeat the whole thing, but in a nutshell, you're trying to, from what you said, standardize personal training so that when you walk in here, there's a unique philosophy that the people know that they're subscribing to. And so you're taking cues from Orange Theory is what you talked about, but you're trying to bring in their mode of training, and then you're trying to bring in the side of personal training that is very I guess reliable is what it is, right?
Yeah. So basically we're creating a standard, high standard for how personal training should be delivered. Yeah. Using like a very standardized personalization program system built over the past 10 years. Yeah. Orange Theory, not specifically. I'm taking best practices for how people are scaling and standardizing their businesses and doing it in a way where they hold the quality of their product or service. Yeah. As they standardize and scale, because again, like in personal training and in fitness, you lose quality once you increase quantity. And currently, you make money in fitness based on increasing the quantity. Yeah. So that you have more margin. Otherwise, you would just fail out. So to think like who kills it in the industry right now, like Planet Fitness kills it in the industry, and
they are. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
They go quantity. Obviously, with a $10 membership starting off, like you wouldn't be able to survive with a big gym, at $10. So like, what does that do? And there's more to it, obviously, and I don't know their whole system, and they're doing great things again. Like they're creating an awesome space. So,
but I'm always curious too. I was like, part of me is like, how do they even exist? And you're right. I imagine quantity is of supreme importance to something like that. They have to.
You can't sell it for that. You can't sell anything in fitness for $10 a month without it being scaled, and then without blowing it up and getting as much quantity as you can. And with that quantity, you're going to lose quality in that service or product. It's just I don't have like a specific law, but let's just say if you get somebody, you go this way. Ready? Yeah. Like, Bruce Lee said this shit. This is good. So Bruce Lee said this. And I think
the motivational shit I've been waiting for.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Bruce Lee said this. Basically, here's the deal, man. It's the same thing. He says, I'm not afraid of the man who knows 1,000 kicks. Yeah. Quantity. I'm afraid of the man that knows one kick that's trying to find a way to make this thing smaller but more quality.
That's true.
And practices 1,000 times.
So I get it. Yeah.
I'll do the whole thing now.
Yeah.
So basically he says that, I'm not afraid of the man who knows 1,000 kicks. I'm afraid of the man who knows one kick and practices it 1,000 times. Yeah. So how do you get the one kick practiced 1,000 times scaled to the people? That's
interesting.
That's
and then
basically what it is.
And you were telling me too, and this is very true, is that personal training does not have that approach.
No.
Because you're shooting in the dark whenever you find a personal trainer. You really are. It doesn't even matter if they're online, if you get them off Instagram, if you weed them out at Planet Fitness. You really just sort of drawing a name out of a hat,
Totally.
And yeah, it's even though I think studios are trying to standardize the practice, it's not in the rhetoric yet. It's not something that is sort of set in stone in the personal training world. It's really not, Yeah, and so for you, and you were telling me too, you built this shit out of nothing, right? So you self-funded this. That's awesome. What brought that idea about? Like, why'd you want to do it? And you've already told me, but yeah. Yeah. So basically the deal was this: I was in college. I wanted to be a strength and conditioning specialist for a D1 team. I was going to get my master's, PhD. I love the knowledge and understanding of increasing personal and personal development and athletic development. Yeah. So like you be just getting better. I love that. And so when I was in college, I was playing football at Western Illinois University, and I was also a personal trainer at the recreation center there. Nice,
and I was doing a lot of shadowing. What I found was I didn't want to deal with the athletes, although athletes are fun. People were coming in, like, you know, people were building their confidence and asking their bosses on this 22-year-old kid is saying, hey, listen, you can do it. Like, you can fucking do it. And they're like, all right, good. So people are coming back and they're in tears, like, oh my God, like, you built so much of my confidence. It's like, they didn't lose a fucking single pound in their weight loss program.
Yeah.
Can I cuss?
No, you can cuss. You're good. Yeah, go for it. Oh, no, cuss all you want. Yeah.
They didn't lose a single fucking pound in the program, and they're crying on how happy they are that they paid for the service, and they came originally for weight loss. So did they come for weight loss, or did they come for somebody to say, you can do it? And that was amazing to me. Like, that I saw somebody who was impacted enough to change the course of their life based on this thing, and I was going by the book. I mean, it was so fucking, it was boring.
Yeah.
To answer the question, I was like, I'm not going to do that anymore, and I want to get into the personal training industry because I want to help people.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I went to a big fucking gym, second biggest corporate fitness provider in the nation, which is Midtown Health Athletic Clubs. They do Fortune 500 companies, corporate fitness. So I was like, let's go to Chicago. I moved into Chicago after college. I was like, this is where I'll learn how to develop and run a big, you know, corporate. I'll learn how to personal train, you know, from personal trainers that at the top of the fucking industry, right? These personal trainers and like to the people that maybe if for some reason down the road come to this audio bit, because it'll, I guess, be out there for.
It'll be out there. It will be. Yeah. They'll see it. They will hear this. Yeah.
I have nothing against anybody in personal training. Actually, I love people who are out there right now and currently helping to build the standard through our failures.
Yeah.
And so there's no disrespect. There's zero standardization. It was very low quality. It was, hey, here's a person, you've got a certification, train them. And that person could do basically whatever the fuck they wanted to. And I was like, this is kind of crazy. To just have be on full trust that this person who may only have a certification that they bought and went online, they may be 18 years old. That's all you need to become a personal trainer.
It's true. They might just be a young pup.
Right? You don't know shit about anything. And so in my head, I'm like, oh man, like, you know, you don't have to have a 4-year degree. You don't have to have a national certification. You don't need to have a practice. You can go on get what they call a brochure certification. Again, sorry for the long.
No, that's okay. But that makes sense. That's good for people to hear. Truly, yeah.
I worked in 2 other places, so I'm not gonna go any further on there. I answered the question though. The reason for wanting to start my own thing happened about 6-7 years ago, when I was like, you know what? I worked at 2 big box gyms, one gym, which was the best gym ever, Exercise Science. So if anybody ever wants to go there, even you look up.
Is that here?
That's actually in a place called LaSalle, Illinois.
Okay.
Tucked away, where nobody can see their fucking amazing
They're on a
program.
boat or something.
Right.
Like, all right, we're here.
Right. That's exactly right. I mean, oh my God, it's you know, it wouldn't surprise me. The guy who runs that place, I always get off on tangents. So.
No, please go ahead.
In any case.
I love it. Yeah.
This guy, after they offered me a position there, $80,000 at the big corporate, $80,000 a year. They said on top of what you'll be getting, it'll be roughly at that $100,000 a K starting the job.
That's good.
At this big place, so good to go. I turned it down to work in a garage gym, making like $18 an hour.
Wow.
You know, I mean, and we were in a garage gym, and don't get me wrong, like this guy had created the best personal training program I have ever seen, and he wasn't focusing as much on the science of personal training, on the science of exercise physiology.
Yeah.
He was focusing on how to develop people into delivering care and compassion and attention.
How interesting.
He was also the hardest working motherfucker I've ever met in my life, and I still have yet to see the caliber of a program that came out of a gym in LaSalle, Illinois.
Yeah.
And eventually, like that will get some attention. People will know about him in the future. He's been at it for 10 years. His name is JP, the owner. He's a killer dude.
Wow.
Never met a dude with better work ethic. In any case, I wrote on my first business card there that's what I wanted. I said, I want to be a gym owner because this is crazy what this dude is doing.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And like, I have 2 big box gyms, big, huge member bases, 3,000, 4,000 people.
Jeez,
right?
and Pete's,
like,
yeah.
Not even closely matching somebody who has maybe 1,200, 1,500 members in a garage gym.
Yeah.
Not even close to matching that program. So I know
Jeez.
there's no standardization. There's no, it doesn't matter. Even at the top of the top of the game isn't coming close to the bottom end. I mean, I'm sure JP, and he's a buddy now, mentored before, and still mentor now. But in any case, like he wasn't making a lot of fucking money, man.
It's true.
He was doing this thing to provide the best, and now he's doing really well, which is
I'm
awesome.
sure it's you were at it for 10 years, it's going to grow. Yeah, that's fantastic.
So again, long story short, the reason for doing it is I see that there's no standardization. I see that it can be done way better.
Yeah.
I see that there is need for a scaled like family name, like personal training company that sets the standard for the industry and one-on-one private personal training. I'm not talking about going to the fucking gym, the gym down the street and finding somebody who's working as a personal trainer out of some other random thing under some weird LLC that they started just because the
some
gym
sketchy thing.
Right?
Yeah.
The gym can't pay, and don't get me wrong, I do this right now.
Yeah.
I still starting off, and with the pandemic, I do this right now. I'm not talking down to it. I'm just saying this is what it is that you just don't know who the fuck you're getting.
It's true. No, you're picking a name out of a hat. It's exactly.
And that's what I want. That's it. That's what I want. That's the passion. The passion is I want to provide and deliver improvement in the lives of others, and I want to create the standard, and I want to be what people hold the standard to.
Yeah. And then that brings me into the question, and I said I'd ask you this too. The big problem with personal trainers nowadays, and truly it always comes down to building some kind of retention with the people. So generally, and again, because you're standardizing the game, maybe you don't have this problem, right? Because if somebody's going to Joe Schmo down at Planet Fitness, they're definitely going to have that problem because they didn't match up with the right trainer, but they are going to get into it and then they'll drop off within 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
They'll lose track, and I imagine that that maybe do you struggle with that here? Do you find that or do people come in here and they don't deal with that because obviously you've developed something different?
So that's an interesting question. So truly the answer to this question is that the way that you retain clients in fitness is to continuously provide a high level of experience, good experience.
It's got to be consistency, yeah.
Consistency in delivering good experience. And that comes down all the way to like when they walk in the front door to when they leave that front door, to when they come in as a first workout, when they come in for their workouts. Like every area of the engagement with the client is part of the experience that needs to be paid attention to. And so I told you this, and so I can kind of articulate it this way. Experience in fitness is everything. Because when it comes to results, it comes to consistency over long duration of time. Because as you could lose 100 pounds in 3 months, which I've seen, and I've also, that would be a fucking story, but I'm not getting into that.
That'd be sick. That's awesome. That's so cool. What you've seen, you said.
But I've seen this happen, but the thing is that you don't want to do that. That person went into a septic shock and was hospitalized for 3 days. He was starving himself to death. He was 275 pounds. He was paying $3,000 a month to an online trainer who was basically yelling at him for 30 minutes every week.
Jeez,
and making him feel bad, shaming him. And eventually he did hit that goal of 100 pounds. I watched it.
Yeah.
This is actually somebody that I know personally. And I watched those results. And I was like, what is this fucking kid doing? This is nuts.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he's paid $9,000. He lost 100 pounds. And then he went into shock, went into the hospital, hospitalized, right? So obviously don't do that.
so no, yeah.
Refeeding had to take a short period of time. He had to refeed himself. He couldn't go back to a regular 2,500 calorie diet or even more than that because would be detrimental to his health after this dickbag online.
Yeah.
Some famous dude, influencer, fitness person. So I love fitness people, but not the ones that are doing this to people.
There's where I, it's I feel the same way. It's that there's obviously something that's not taught. You run into that problem where that shit can happen. Yeah.
Right. So it's experience. It's the experience. It's trying to make it fun. It's interesting. It's that's everything. Environment is huge. Like you have to have the environment. You have to have the aesthetic. You have to show up. You have to conduct yourself in a way that adds to the experience of each session, each engagement. This is on every front. And so if you're not, if you don't have an app, that could be detrimental to retention. If you don't have a website, or if you don't have like a podcast right now, or some form of content consumption, if you don't have something that continues to add to the experience on every front with your clients, then you won't be able to get it, because it's all that experience. So I call this flow. So like with good flow, which I'm sure everyone calls this, but good exercise workout.
Not really though. Not really. I've never heard of it in this space before. So I hear flow. Whenever I hear flow, it usually has something to do with a yoga studio.
Yeah. Okay.
So really and truly. So you hear yoga studio. Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yoga is perfect. We give yoga here.
Okay.
As a benefit to all of our clients. It's not a part of the main program, but we offer it on the weekends, which is like, hey, you guys
really
can come.
Really cool too. Yeah. That's awesome.
You just take advantage of that. I love yoga. Yeah. But the thing about yoga, this is actually partly how I got the idea for flow, which increases experience, is that like, if you go from one exercise to another exercise, and it takes and you don't have a good transition, the transition period from one exercise to the next needs to flow. And in yoga, if you pay attention in yoga, they very much are calculated in how they're going from one move to the next.
Yeah.
And if you don't do yoga like that, you will have a bad experience, and you'll probably stop doing yoga. So yoga, their whole thing is to eliminate friction. Like yoga is for the mind. Eliminate friction, eliminate resistance, like let go for a second, pay attention to your mind, breathe, and then work your body, right? And
that's true.
Like if you have any disruption in flow in a yoga session, and basically you're going to have a bad experience, and then you're going to stop doing yoga. So for yoga, it's important for even the practice in and of itself. Like the practice is for you to conduct an understanding, or cultivate an understanding, or build an understanding of what this crazy thing is between your ears. And so you need to try your best to eliminate it as much friction as possible. So if you're working range of motion on top of it, you have to have good flow. And that's where I build this idea of like, if you see somebody doing jumping jacks, waiting for you to get the shit set up in your workout, that's resistance to flow. Can't fucking be standing around. I don't care if you're doing single sets and working strength at one rep, which you shouldn't be doing, which is population personality. But in any case, they can't be standing around. They're doing something. They're engaged in something the entire time.
For sure.
No matter what it is. And so we've standardized that process. That's very much our specialty, is to eliminate friction. Using, we have two apps, one for programming, we have one for how we track in here, and we have it to where it's simplified in a way that it doesn't ruin flow. So it's like charting as a nurse or a doctor in a hospital, but doing it where it doesn't disrupt the flow of the exercise. So not sitting there putting it, like a clipboard. You put in a clipboard, you can do all this fucking putting down, like, I'm gonna put down rep sets, all that bullshit. Like, don't get me wrong, it's good to go, and thank God for it. The people who are doing that and actually tracking what's going on, I'll say as it happens, like the tracking in the industry is extremely dissatisfying, to say the least.
It is. It's true, but the concept of resistance training flow is so interesting, and it really is. Like I've never heard that before. It's only applied ever to yoga for me. I've only ever heard it in conjunction with that. But it makes sense that you would have to do that as a personal trainer, especially if you wanted to make it feel good to somebody. You do have to have a flow to it. It's got to make sense within like the concept of the actual program. But that's not done anymore, because you go to a gym and they'll do box jumps, and then they might go do the chest press, and they might go. It just, everything is like broken up and disconnected for the sake of variety.
Absolutely, and that, by the way, that's like super detailed. That's kind of like, it's like that. You need to flow all the way down to that detail, but don't miss the forest for the trees. Like, that's true. The biggest thing is that it's flow on every level. It's flow from like the standardization of like when somebody comes into the front door, and you yelling their name, being excited to see them, and you like transitioning from that and
I get it. It's the whole sphere. It defines this. Yeah.
Every aspect of the system has flow incorporated. Has the principle of flow to eliminate resistance on every single level. The way that we do our AGS, our weekly accountability and goal setting, where we like break down everything that you're doing, to when we take your measurements on a weekly basis, so cool. To when we take your measurements on a weekly basis, like making sure that it's on the first week of every month for everybody. Wow. Keeping everything standardized, keeping everything together, but personalized.
Yeah.
So that we can optimize the programs to these people, and it doesn't happen.
Jeez, man.
So it's
awesome.
It's on every level, and so what the interesting part is that, like, you know, people get into going with like the cookie cutter personal trainer. Well, isn't that cookie cutter personal training if you're applying a standard? No, that's procedure. That's like if you're a doctor who is doing a fucking
it's bedside manner.
Right.
It's exactly personal training bedside manner. Yeah.
Right. 100%. Like you need a procedure. If there's going to be some nuance, there has to be, and there will be, and that's the idea. But there needs to be procedure, and that is what is lacking, and it's because there's no standard set. So if you can get out there right now in the personal training field, and I challenge anybody to do this, like, you get out there, focus on flow and experience. I mean, use the principles of Orange Theory. They've killed it. I mean, and if you looked into their business practice as well, like, they kill it on the business side, marketing side of things. Absolutely, they understand fitness. Like, if you don't know why is it not working, compare what you're doing to them. Don't do it. You're not going to do it at their caliber. You don't have the resources. But emulate their tactics, because their tactics are what's working in the